I'm currently a junior, double majoring in finance and international business, and Kristen is the senior double majoring in finance and international business as well. In your packets, you can find a little About Us section. To give you a really brief run through, we have Stephanie Otaki as our secretary, Jennifer Bonacci, Becky Yang, and a few co-chairs, Lem Nagmu, Easy, Darcy, and Jared. And our advisor this year is Dr. Arante Bennett. If you guys aren't familiar with MCBA already, our mission is to empower Villanova students with the skills and confidence necessary to embrace diversity and ignite change as business leaders. And our goal with this career conference today is some key takeaways are just kind of what is your passion, like what does passion really mean, and how can you connect passion to your career goals in the future. And we have a few interactive events that we hope will get this point across. And without further ado, we'll like to start with our icebreaker event. I'm sure you guys have already been mingling for a few minutes, but our icebreaker event is going to be create an object that looks like passion. So you have foil in front of you. So using the foil, create something that ignites, that is kind of what passion is to you. It can be a person, an object, an event, or something that made you think of passion in the past. Anything that symbolizes passion to you, and it's a little bit vague, but on purpose. So after we spend about 2-3 minutes on that, share that with your table and discuss it. We're going to have a facilitator going around to each table. Without further ado, the foil is yours.
Oh, so good to see you. And author of the books, The Purpose Living Teen, A Teen's Guide to Living Your Dreams, and nationally acclaimed, How to Find Your Passion and Make a Living at It. Over the past 15 years, he has conducted hundreds of seminars and group coaching sessions focused on harnessing your passion to determine your college major and your career path. His story of education, success, 5 garbage bags, and a dream is one of the top stories in the New York Times best-selling book, Chicken Soup for the African American Soul. Coach D is the founder of HYPE, HYPE program, a workforce investment act that became nationally recognized for its high school dropout prevention rate. And if that didn't make him awesome enough, he is a husband of 18 years and a proud father of 4 daughters. When we were asked to draw our passion, his first response was to show me his passion, his 2 daughters having a tea party. Today, Mr. Andrews will be helping us find our passion. Please welcome Darrell, Coach D. Andrews.
Good evening, everyone. Can you all hear me okay? All right, let's try that again. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I know you're all eating dinner, but we just want to come up and say good evening, and I have to show you what I did for mine. Anybody want to take a guess what this is? My passion piece? This is a, you guys can't figure this out, can you? His is bigger than mine. Look at this. It's a heart. Your heart looks a lot better than mine. My goodness, I think I got to work on my hearts here. Well, it's an honor and a privilege to be here. And I know that you all are enjoying a meal, but I got to let you know right up front, I'm sort of an interactive speaker, so you're going to have a bit of eating. So, but I want to start off by saying to you that the information that I'm going to share with you, I've been sharing with audiences worldwide over the last 2 decades. And I personally believe that it is one of the most relevant and significant topics when we talk about career development or entrepreneurial pursuits. Because individuals that find their passion, find a greater sense of purpose in their work, are the individuals who typically have the greatest impact on society as we know it. These are the dreamers and the innovators who create some of the biggest, the most successful businesses, and who work within city infrastructures and from a political perspective and help their cities become better. Individuals within education institutions that care about the outcomes of students and giving their best, put their best foot forward to create education systems that cause all of you to be able to go on and leave this university and have a significant sense of impact in what you do. These innovators have created airplanes and they've created automobiles, and these are individuals who have found something that is, from their perspective, have given them a great sense of meaning in their life. And so, as you can tell, as I did not put my phone, there we go, on mute. This topic means a lot. And so my goal tonight, as I'm going to share with you, I want to make sure that you're not only listening, but I want you to take notes. Because it's not just a speech, but this is 20 years of research too. This is a lot of time well spent discussing and looking at and analyzing and assessing this particular topic. But I want to start off by doing something. Put your forks down. I know you enjoy a sandwich slicing right into that piece of chicken as I was talking to you. I want y'all to stand up for just a few seconds. Everybody stand up. Everybody, you look good. Look at the person next to you and say this to them. Say, you almost look as good as me. Go on, say that to them. Now here you go. I want you to be nice to them. I want you to say, keep working on it. Just keep working on it. Now what I want you to do is I want you to walk around to 4 or 5 people, not necessarily at your table, but I want you to say this to them. I look forward to you using your passion to make a difference on the planet. Go ahead, go as many people as you can within a 2-minute time. Let's go, let's go. Now, let's go. I look forward to you using your passion as a way to impact society in a positive way. Come on, guys, get a little into it. You guys are the future leaders and innovators of our country. So get into it. Say it like you mean it. Say it like you mean it. Come on. I look forward to you using your passion to make a difference on the planet. I look forward to it. Absolutely. I look forward to it. You look like you're going to do your passion. That look. Say it with a smile too as you're speaking to the individual. Just like say it, but say it like you're really meaning it. Say it like you're meaning it. Very good, very good, very good. Very good. All right, now some people are writing the book down. Now I was just give yourselves a hand clap when you sit down if you believe that one day you are I believe that you are. I want to start off my presentation as we talk about finding your passion by sharing with you, I think, 2 of the most powerful words on the planet. And I say that because I've studied this pretty intensely over the last couple of decades, and I find that an individual that captures and encapsulates these 2 words in their day-to-day activities, in their day-to-day actions, will excel in anything that they choose to do, be it academics, be it career, be it athletics, it doesn't matter. The individual will achieve tremendous levels of success. These 2 words, I've found that these 2 words have helped individuals build great businesses. And these 2 words have caused individuals to build great organizations. These 2 words have helped people overcome obstacles of poverty and those types of situations to accomplish the goals and their dreams in life, despite the fact that some people think that they would have never done it. And I'm standing here as a living witness to that myself. These 2 words are powerful words. And if you have anything to write with, you may want to write them down. The first word I want to share with you is the word perception. I personally believe that perception is one of the most powerful words on the planet. And the reason why I say that is this. A person's perception always will be, students, and hear me out, always will be a person's reality. In other words, what a person perceives to be real will be real to them, and it always will be. Even though sometimes what a person perceives could be way over in left field. How many of you have had friends where you say to yourself, what are you thinking about? Anybody have a friend like that before? When somebody has said something, you look and you say, what are you thinking about? Well, you know what? They're probably looking at you and saying, what are you thinking about? Because to them, their perception is their reality and you're off. You see, individual perception. So some of our perceptions have helped us to excel academically, where some people, they don't quite make the mark because they have the perception that they can't excel academically. Perception is a powerful tool. Some people end up getting jobs and careers as they go into this interview process because they have the perception that when I get in that interview, I'm going to give these people the best interview that I've ever given. And when they walk in that door, guess what? That's what they give them. Well, another individual may say, man, I'm telling you, I'm nervous. I don't know if I'm qualified. And they walk in the door, and that they're nervous and they're timid. And that shows in that interview process, and the interviewer picks it up. confidence is a very powerful tool. So a person's perception becomes a person's reality. Perception has caused individuals like the Wright brothers to come up with this concept called air flight. Back when they were doing this, people thought that air flight was impossible. They thought that there's no way that you can fly in the air. But these two guys with impeccable credentials, they were actually owned a bicycle repair shop. That is definitely connected to, air flight and aeronautics. Decided that despite what individuals think, despite what individuals may say, we're going to commit our lives to this thing called air flight. Now let me ask you a question. How many of you have ever been on an airplane? Let's give the Wright brothers a hand clap for being two crazy guys not to believe that one day that flight could be possible. All right? So perception is truly reality. Now most importantly, I want to see where your perception is today. Because we're talking about finding your passion. And one of the foundations of finding your passion is the way you perceive yourself. The way you perceive your possibilities, the way you perceive your education, the way you perceive your outcome, the way you perceive your ability to take what you're good and gifted at and make a career out of it or build a business out of it. So your perception will ultimately become your reality. So I want you to do something at your table. Which worked out for me. Now, I told you you're going to eat sometime, you're going to take the fork down too. I want you to shake the hand of a person next to you at the table. And I want you to say to them. You said it a little bit earlier, but we'll do it in a different way. Shake your hand and say this. It's nice to be in the room with the second best looking person in the building. Go on and say that to me. It's nice to be in the room with the second best looking person in the building. There you go, right there. The second best looking person. Now, if you're a cool Coach D, you're talking about the third best, because I think I got that one pretty. Number one is locked up, Except when this guy sitting right over here, think he looks good. Keep working on it, man. Keep working on it. All right? Now, everybody take your hand like this. Come on, everybody take your hand. Take your hand. Come on, take your hand. Come on, go on with me. I know you're trying to get to that last. Hold on to that last potato. It's not going anywhere. All right? Everybody take your hand like this. And act like you're looking in the mirror. Everybody act like you're looking in the mirror. Oh, come on, make me look in the mirror. And I want you to say this. Say, my God, you look good today. Go on, say that today. Come on, act like you look in the mirror. Oh, my goodness. Now, take your hand like this and show it to somebody and say, can you believe that? I got to look at that every day. Go on, say that to them. Can you believe that? I got to look at that every day. Every day I got to wake up. My goodness, my wife is blessed. You see, but let me tell you something. We're having fun and we're talking about realistically the way you perceive yourself will determine the outcomes that you achieve in your life. All right? The way you see yourself every single day will determine how people interact with you. If you walk around with confidence, guess what? People will interact with you as a confident person. If you walk around with high levels of self-esteem, individuals will deal with you as a person who has high levels of self-esteem. Your perception of yourself is the thing that will drive you towards living your passion. Because in your mind, you'll say, nothing's going to ever stop me from doing it. Give somebody a high five and say, nothing's going to stop me. Come on, come on, high five to the table. I'm the coach now. I'm the coach now. You got to go there with me. Nothing's going to stop me from living what I'm passionate about. My passion becomes my reality. My perception becomes my reality. So perception is a powerful tool. All right, look at this nice little guy. There he is again right there. All right. So perception. A couple things about perception. Just a key point. Beliefs are a byproduct of perception. Modify perceptions and you ultimately modify your reality. Beliefs are a byproduct of perception. Modify perceptions. I'm writing a book on this same subject matter right now. This has been a 2-year labor of love because I believe that behaviors are a byproduct of perception. Perception is the foundation of behaviors. So the things that I do and the things that I think and the things that people are really steeped in the way I see things. And that has an environmental connotation to it, where it's a connection to what I've been around and what I've associated myself with. Number 2, purposes are born out of perception. Are born out of our perceptions. So when we talk about finding our passion, and we talk about taking our passion and making a living at it, a lot of that is steeped in our perceptions, and it births the reality of our ability to make that happen, one way or the other. Perception is a powerful tool. These two individuals in this picture, I like to put pictures of the people I meet. The man at the top of the picture is a guy named Mike Duke. He's the president and CEO of Walmart Corporation. And I spoke to all 8,000 of his senior managers about what we're talking about now, the power of perception. And he said that it was Sam Walton's perception that took this little 5-and-dime store in Bentonville, Arkansas, and turned it into the largest corporation in the world. There was his perception that did that. And he shared with me that the message that I shared with his senior team worldwide was one of the most relevant messages to continue to thrust that organization forward. One of the most relevant messages. Matter of fact, the time I spoke, they had Oprah Winfrey the month before, and they had Will Smith the month prior to that. And I said, what'd you pay him? I want Oprah got paid. I'm just kidding. But anyway, so perception is a powerful tool. The second word I'm going to share with you in the context of a story. Don't have a beautiful family. Come on, just placate me for a few moments. Don't have a beautiful family. That's it. That's all I think, man. Yeah, I have a beautiful family. Matter of fact, I like to tell people, now keep on talking about the first one, I'll give you the second word. I like to tell people I have the most beautiful children on the planet. They look just like their daddy. It's in the DNA. They can't help themselves. I have my 14-year-old son, Darrell Jr., who's 14 years old and he wears size 14 shoes. It's a big boy. I have my 10-year-old daughter, Sophia Olivia, who's one of daddy's hearts right there. And then I have my 9-year-old son, Alexander Joshua. And this little cutie with no teeth in her mouth over here is my 2-year-old daughter, Abigail Jubilee, who we adopted when she was 3 days old. So she's been with us for a few years. She's a joy. And then, of course, I've been married to my beautiful wife, Pamela, for 18 years. She met me 18 years ago, 20 years ago, and she couldn't resist. It was too much. Actually, it was the other way around. But I remember one time I was going to speak at an economic and education summit. There were going to be about 6,000 people at this conference. I was the keynote speaker. And my then 5-year-old son, Darrell Jr., walks into my study as I'm preparing for this event. And he makes a bold proclamation. He looks at me with a level of intensity in his eyes and he says to me, Daddy, keep in mind, he's only 5 years old. He said, Daddy, I want to speak to the people. I said, you want to speak to the people, son? He said, yes, Dad, I want to speak to the people. He was serious. I said, okay, I'm going to take you up there with me, and I'm going to let you speak to the people. Now, Darrell, when you speak to the people, what are you going to say to them, son? What are you going to say that's going to cost them to be their best? What are you going to say that's going to cost them to go for the goal? Now, do any of you have younger siblings in here? I mean, any of you have any connection with like a 5-year-old, 6-year-old in your life at this point? Well, you'll be able to relate to this story. All of a sudden, this little fellow starts to rock back and forth like this. I have no idea why he's rocking, but he's rocking. And then all of a sudden, his shirt comes off, and I have no idea why the shirt is off, but there it goes. And his eyes start to bulge like this, and I said, my God, my son is morphing right before my eyes. And he looks at me with his eyes bulging. I'm scared. I'm like, what's about to happen to this guy? You know, his eyes bulging and his hands thrusting, and he's going back and forth like this, and he says to me, Daddy, when I step on that stage, I'm going to tell those people that gotta have passion. As he walks around the house with his head shaking like this. And I just looked at him and I said, son, it's quite obvious to me. You must have got that from your mama's side of the family. Here's my last high five for the next 5 minutes. I've got to give you at least 4 before I leave today. Give somebody at the table a high five. A couple people, if you can lean over, a high five and tell them, you know what? If you're going to accomplish your goals and dreams in life, you've got to have passion, baby. Come on, give somebody a high five at the table. Tell them, if you're going to accomplish your goals and dreams in life, you've got to have passion, baby. Now, come on, Villanova, I got to help you out, but try to put baby in that. Give somebody a high five again and say baby. You got to have passion, baby. You got to put right now. If you're going to do this, don't just say passion. You got to say passion, baby. You got to say passion, baby. Now, why is this? Now, write this one down. If you don't write anything down, write this down, because I want you to get this, and I don't ever want you to forget it. And that is this. Passion is the fuel that lights the fire of all creativity. No matter what an individual looks to accomplish in their life, the fuel behind that individual accomplishing it is passion. That passion is so powerful that it will cause an individual, again, to overcome obstacles, to overcome challenges. Passion is fuel. The fuel, I like to say, that lights the fire. So when you look around this room, from these balloons that are sitting right here, to the chandeliers you see up there, the table, the rug that we have, the stage that I'm standing on, there was somebody at some point that said, I got to find a way to make this happen. From the shoes I have on to the suit I have, there's somebody that had a passion for it. And those individuals made it happen. You see? They made it happen. So passion is the fuel that lights the fire of all creativity. That's why I talk about this, finding your passion and finding your purpose. Because when you have a person gets that and they run with it, and they're in school and they're studying, understanding that they're the end result is I'm going to be able to use this, and I'm going to have a major that's going to define something so significant that I can use it to, guess what? That individual has a sense of determination and motivation every day. Many of us hear the word motivation, but I want you to think about this, and I'm a note guy, so think about this. I have a statement that I actually use, and that's this, and I was sharing it with your dean a little earlier. That is, motivation without information is simply a good conversation. So I'm going to say some things, and I want you to take notes because I want you to get it. Here's one. Motivation has a word within it called titled motive. And a motive is an inner state that's driven towards a goal. When an individual has the proper motive or that goal, right, that they're pursuing, then every single day they will have motivation. You don't have to listen to a motivational speaker like Coach D or read a motivational book. The motive itself becomes inspirational. And it causes people to go out every day and hit their books hard and to connect with each other and stay up late in the library where everybody's out doing something. They're still stuck because that motive is pumping them up. You see what I'm saying? Look at somebody next to you and say this for 2 seconds. What's your motive? What are you trying to do, sir? What's the thing that motivates you? Come on, I want to make sure we get it. Say, what's your motive? What's motivational to you? Come on, students. You got to think about this kind of stuff. Our students here. What's your motive? What's your motive? What's motivating you? Because your motive will become your motivation. Your motive will become your motivation. Motive. So passion. Passion is the fuel that lights the fire of all creativity. Let's move on. Why identify purpose? Why is this thing such a conversation that people are having all over the world now? Number one, why do we want to identify purpose? Number one, it brings meaning to your life and career. There's a thing called the Conference Board, and every year they do this thing where they do job satisfaction studies from industries, across industries all over the country. And what they're finding is that a lot of people just aren't really getting there when it comes to job satisfaction. And when they go a little deeper into their research, what they're finding in this is because a lot of times people don't find a sense of meaning in what they're doing. So that lack of meaning causes dissatisfaction. I'm doing something, but I'm not grasping the reason why I'm really doing this. You see? And so don't get me wrong, we need employment, we need jobs, but the greatest success comes from when that job is connected to a career that's connected to purpose. Because now when I wake up in the morning, I feel good about what I'm doing. I feel like this makes sense. There's a coach of the Philadelphia 76ers some years ago, and I don't know, any Sixers fans in here? I've got about 4 of you. All right, so we won't go there. But this coach's name was Larry Brown. Anybody remember Larry Brown when he used to be here in Philadelphia? Larry Brown said this one time. He was being interviewed. He had just signed a 5-year contract renewal with the 76ers. And the guy was running up behind him, and he had the camera pointing right at him. And he said, Mr. Brown, he said, how does it feel to know that you're going to be working for another 5 years? And he walked, and he paused, and he looked back, and he said to the guy, man, what are you talking about working for the next 5 years? He said, I haven't worked in 25 years. How many understand why he said that? He'd been coaching for 30 years. But God, why? Because that's what he's passionate about. He said, this isn't work to me. This is something that has meaning to me. This is something that I care about. So you call it new contract. I call it this another opportunity to continue to do what I love to do, which is absolutely amazing. It brings meaning to your life and your career. Number two, you make greater contributions to the world in which you live. When you take your passion and you identify it, then all of a sudden, you start to make greater contributions to the world in which you live. Because it's no longer work, it's meaning and it's purpose and all of that. So now, when I'm doing what I'm doing it with a greater sense of significance. That's another reason why we did look at identifying it. And you direct your expectations and outcomes. You now kind of write your own book when you find what you're passionate about. Because now you can say, this is what I really want to do. And this is what I would like to accomplish. Because it's now centered around something that's intrinsic, deeply rooted inside you. This is, anybody want to take a guess? I had a free book. I don't have the book with me, but I'll make sure you get it because I've sold out of books. But you might want to take a guess of who that woman is in this picture? No one would be able to guess it. I doubt very seriously if you could guess. Anybody want to take a shot? You guys may not remember this person. Some of us a little older probably will remember. All right. There was a show on television on PBS. Come on, get yeah. So who's that? Maria. That's Maria from Sesame Street. There you go. Somebody got it. Yeah, there you go. You don't get the free book though. It took a little too long. I'll get you free. I promise. That's Maria from Sesame Street. She's been on Sesame Street for 35 years. She's never had any other. She said, this is the only thing I want to do. She said, I love impacting the lives of kids. We were both keynote speakers for the National PTA Convention in Phoenix, Arizona. They had the nerve to have me speak at the convention. It was 125 degrees outside in Phoenix. And they had this event in the month of July, 125 degrees. It's crazy. So anyway, how to find your passion keys. Here we go into some of the nuts and bolts of this thing, all right? We're going to talk about the three things when we talk about identification of passion. Because again, we want the motivation, but I got to give you some strategy, okay? And that's how when you get the strategy, that's when you can run and make certain things happen. So the first thing I want to talk about is this thing called the passion pathways. And with the passion pathways, these are relevant because these are pathways that I have identified in my research that people have used to find their passion, to find their purpose. Now, I'm going to guarantee you, what I'm going to share with you have never seen before because I wrote all of this and I created this. So this will be new for you, all right? This will be new. But for those of you who are trying to get a grip on this, I think this information will be helpful, okay? Then we're going to talk about the theory of multiple intelligence. This is not my work, but this is the work of Dr. Howard Gardner out of Harvard University, where he talked, I'll talk about that a little bit more in detail when we get to it, but he believes that we all have a form of intelligence inside of us that turns into a career to make a significant impact in our own lives. And then affinity and passion mapping. That's something I came up with that's strategic and analytical, that allows people to take a passion or a purpose and put multiple career paths around it and identify a few that may be worthy of pursuing. All right? I'm big on career exploration, but I believe that we should narrow it down to where there's certain things that we look at instead of 900,000 things that cause us to be confused. We need to kind of get it a little bit, hone it in just a little bit more. And that's what the passion mapping process will do. We'll talk about that. And realistically, that is more of a workshop. Now, hopefully I'll get a chance to get invited back to do the workshop. Boy, that was a terrible sales pitch. Because the workshop is nice because it's hands-on. And we can go through the processes a little more. This is a speech, not a workshop. So let me share some of these things with you. All right? Now, before we go into the passion pathways, I want to talk about strategic analysis. I'm a big fan of a guy named Benjamin Bloom. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of Benjamin Bloom before, but he has a thing called the Bloom's taxonomy. And what he talks about in the Bloom's taxonomy is the highest levels of thinking from his perspective, or critical thinking. So Dr. Bloom, when he was doing this analysis on critical thinking skills, he came up with 6 levels of critical thinking that he thought were the most significant aspects of critical thinking. So number 6, the lowest round from his perspective, was knowledge. Because this is what he said. He said that knowledge itself is good, but a lot of times people don't apply knowledge. You see, so they know some things, but they don't always apply it. So he said, but the 3 highest levels of critical thinking are as follows. And again, if you're an analytical person or a person that wants to know about process, you may want to write these down. Number 3 in that equation is what he called analysis. Analysis, the ability to break certain things down and look at them as far as how we can possibly use this to advance our causes. Number 2 is synthesis. And what that basically is your ability to take what you analyze and synthesize it around usable, in a format in which it can be used in an appropriate manner. And the highest level of critical thinking from his perspective is once you analyze something and you synthesize something, is how you judge and evaluate it, how you use it. So when we talk about finding our passion, Bloom's model really kicks in because it does make sense. Analysis, synthesis, and judgment evaluation. How do we use what we've been able to analyze? And so when I think of finding your passion and finding your purpose, I come up with this little chart here because I like to talk about some of the key components. The first one is your affinity. And you'll see that I use the word affinity interchangeably with passion and purpose. So one of the first keys is your affinity, identification of your affinities. And that is a process we say how is through identification, which we'll talk about in just a few moments. And the benefit of that is a dream career. In other words, the kind of career that, again, I go from that. How many ever heard that statement, thank God it's right? Anybody heard that one before? All right? I want you to look at somebody at the table and say this to them. Say this with them. You got to say it as I'm going to give you the words, and you got to repeat this to somebody at your table, all right? Say this to them. Look at somebody next to you and say this to them. Say, don't say. Come on, say it a little bit louder. Come on, give me a little bit. Say, don't say.
Don't say.
Thank God it's Friday. Say, your goal is to say, thank God it's Monday. That's what old Greg of Finding Your Passion is all about. Thank God it's Monday. What do I love? I love doing so much. Monday is a pretty good day for me. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes we need breaks from work. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes we need a little vacation. We were talking about that a little earlier. But that doesn't mean we don't love what we do. We just need physically tired. But if I'm always saying, thank God it's Friday, I need to think about what I'm doing. Is that the right career path? I need to really think about that. The second part is goal setting. And I'm not talking about simple goal setting, but strategic goal setting, where I look at what they call the SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and has a timetable connected to it. See, the SMART goals. And how you do that? Through strategy. And then what do you achieve as a result? Accomplishment of goals, which is important to the pursuit of a passion and a purpose. The third thing is attitude. I like this quote by Dr. Eleanor Levy, who's an immunologist and PhD out of Boston University. She says this about attitude. She says, our thoughts affect the way we feel more so than what we eat. Research throughout the world, including Harvard's Body and Mind Institute, suggests that positive thoughts increase white blood cell count, helping to fight disease and infection. Positive thoughts also increases the body's production of adrenaline and endorphins, which help with overall vitality and excitement about life. If you want to improve the way you feel and look, begin with your attitude. And instantly feel better about life and all that it has to offer for less than the cost of a Big Mac. She's saying it's free. Dr. William James, who's considered by many to be the father of modern psychology, one of the greatest researchers of all time on human potential, said it this way: after all of his years of theories and hypotheses, he said, enough is enough. Let me give you one statement that will define all of this. He said, the greatest discovery of my generation is that a person can change their life by changing their attitudes. All right? Since I am, they do call me Coach D, don't you? I'm the coach, like when you're coaching a team, you got to be coach. Like, so here's another high five. You got to put the baby at the end of it. Get somebody a high five and tell them, attitude is everything, baby. Come on, high five. Attitude is everything. That's important. Okay? Attitude is everything, baby. The right attitude will take you far. The wrong attitude will limit your potential. Big time. I've seen some people that have great skill sets, great abilities, bad attitude, and the attitude stopped them in their tracks. So, man, it makes no sense. I've seen great athletes like that. How many of you have seen athletes, see them on TV? He said, man, if they just would have kept their heads on straight, they would do some great things with their life. But their attitude is terrible. I've seen it in business, not just athletes, but even in business and all types of places. How do you do that? By analysis of your perception. That's why I'm writing on this subject right now, because I think perception is one of the keys. You got to have the right perception. And that's connected to attitude. And then the benefit to that is opportunities. Opportunities come your way when you have the right attitude. People want to hire folks with the right attitude. If I had time, I would go into several stories of careers and promotions that I received. I used to work for Abbott Laboratories, a big healthcare company, in the diagnostics division. And the opportunities that came my way because of my attitude. And the attitude I displayed in that workplace on a day-to-day basis, they gave me favor with my managers, and favor with the president of the company, and favor with regional managers. I was one that was always selected for opportunities and chances to travel and represent my company because of my attitude. If you have the right attitude, it'll open up tremendous opportunities for your life. The fourth thing is friendships. And with friendships, we look at analysis and then accountability. I do want to share one quick story with you, because this is a major one. And when I look in this room, I see a lot of young people that obviously are making great choices with your life. But I think this story merits it because this friendships piece is important. I remember one time I was going to Wagner College. I attended Wagner College, and I ended up transferring to a school called Cheney University. But I started my college career up at a school called Wagner College. And on my way to Wagner College, I met a man that looked like, on the airplane, that looked like one of the rappers in the rap group Run DMC. Anybody remember that rap group Run DMC? He looked just like one of the guys in the rap group Run DMC. I thought he was going to sit there and, as the kids would say, bust a rhyme on me right there, right in the seat on the airplane. And so this guy was a really cool guy. And I was 16, 17 years old at the time, and he was on a plane with his mother and his mother-in-law, and he was heading back to New York City. I was flying from Syracuse to New York City. And so on the plane, he asked me a question, this guy that looked like D from Run DMC. He said, do you need a ride to where you're going when the plane lands? I said, sir, with all due respect, I have a lot of luggage, and I don't want to I think it'll be too much, and I just don't think that'll be too good of an idea. He said, no, man, I want to give you a ride. You seem like a sharp young man. Plus, I just want to chat with you a little bit and see if I can give you some advice, because I'm a college graduate, maybe I can give you some advice. I said, fine, okay, well, I don't have much money, so let's go. I'll take the ride. So the plane landed. We went on the baggage claim, grabbed my luggage, and walked out the door. Well, when I got out the door with this gentleman that looked like D from Run DMC, he had this 8-door stretch Cadillac limousine with his name on the license plate. His name was Jim Murphy, J. Murphy. And I looked at him, I said, well, when you said you had a room, you weren't kidding, were you? You had a whole lot of room. And so I get inside this limo. Keep in mind, I was a kid born in abject poverty in Syracuse, New York. I didn't even know what a limo was. I had never seen a limo in my entire life. And this guy now would put me in this limousine and even had a little button he could hit and had Pepsi in there, Coke and Mountain Dew and all that. So I got something to drink too. And so here we are in this car. I'm drinking Mountain Dew. I'm telling you, I said, man, we call my mom up. We take a picture of this and text it to her. You see? And so here's the deal. So we're in this car, and this guy starts talking to me. I said, sir, in all my lifetime, I've never met a person that's as laid back as you that had his own limousine. He said, Darrell, let me tell you something, and I'll never want you to forget this as long as you live. He said, when I was 14 years old, I lived in the Bronx, New York, and I was making poor choices. And he said, I had 10 friends that were making poor choices too. And I came to the realization that in this country, you can live your American dream, and I was squandering it. I didn't take my academics seriously. And he said, you know what I did, Darrell? I went to my 10 friends, and I said to them, it's time to change. We can't keep doing this kind of stuff. It's time to change. And so his 10 friends said, oh, you're crazy, man. We don't want to hear about that. So he said, I stopped hanging out with those guys. He said, they were limiting my potential. Got focused. He said he dropped out of school. He got back in school. And then he ended up graduating from high school, #1 in his class. Received a full tuition paid scholarship to Yale University. Graduated from Yale, #2 in accounting. Worked for a Big 5 accounting firm, and within a few years started his own accounting firm. And he said to me, Darrell, I was a multi-millionaire before I was 25 years old. And this is what he said to me. This is the part that I want you to get. He looked me in the eye and said, young man, you may never see me again, and I don't ever want you to forget what I'm going to say to you. He said, don't look at this car, don't look at my life. He said, I'm not into finances and trying to pump people up with all of this. I worked hard, and I achieved some things. He said, but I want you to know this, young man, and don't you forget this as long as you live. He said, Darrell, if you show me your friends, I will show you your future. You show me 5 people that you hang on. Now let's have some fun here, because I know you guys don't fall into this category. You have good friendships, but I want to have some fun with you anyway. Look at somebody next to you and say, yo, who are you hanging out with? Come on, say that to somebody. Hey, yo, who are you hanging out with? I know you all hang around the right people, but I just thought I'd mess with you. I know you guys are making good choices. Let me tell you something. If you want to be a doctor, find 4 or 5 people that want to become doctors and hang around them. Try to encourage each other. If you want to go into accounting, find some folks that are a little passionate about that and make them your friends. Say, listen, let's run together, let's encourage each other. People who have common goals can motivate each other more than anything. Anything. All right? So the passion pathways. Here's a quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson. He says this, don't go where the path may lead. Instead, go where there is no path and leave a trail. You call that person a trailblazer. In business and industry and politics, whatever, history never forgets people who are trailblazers. Okay? Now, here's the passion pathways. This is the identification process. We talk about identification. These are the pathways. So you, again, if you're a note taker, you may want to write some of this stuff down because this is some good information. 20 years of hard work, sweat, and labor to come up with this stuff. It may seem simple, but trust me, it works. I've seen it work thousands of times in thousands of lives all over the country. There are 5 pathways I created, but for this session, we're going to talk about 1. They are as follows. Here is number 1. All right? Watch how it drops. Boom. Number 1 is lifetime infatuation. When people talk about identifying their purpose, identifying a passion, one thing I came up with in my passion pathways are lifetime infatuation. This is something that people are just infatuated with. You know, how many of people are infatuated with cooking? Anybody know somebody that just loves to cook? You know, cook all. How many of you just love to cook? Well, there you go. Share shit over there. All right. I want to talk to you because I need a little bill when I'm done. So there you go. You see, some people are infatuated with organization. How people are like me? Do you like things neatly organized and they got to be perfectly in position? And you know, folks out there, yeah. Some people have an infatuation with debating. How many have friends that debate everything? Just want to debate. You can't say anything. They just debate you. They want to debate you. You see, that person may want to become a lawyer. They may look at a career path down there. The cook may become like Emeril Lagasse and open their own restaurant. You know what I mean? Major in culinary and go that pathway. That infatuation is with you all the time. I have a good doctor friend that is a doctor on the weekend. On the weekends, he's a drummer. He said, I've always been infatuated with playing the drums. He said, I had to do the doctor thing because I love being a doctor, but I love the drums. So he got this little rock band he's playing in. I said, you patients ever see you out there in that rock band? Wait, you got your head all tight. You see? So, but the thing is, you're naturally talented at doing this. This is a no-brainer for you. You can do it with your eyes closed. You can do it with your hands tied. It's something that you just love to do, and you're infatuated. That's one way of identifying something that you're passionate about. Number two is this, influence of others. This is a big one because most people find their passion through the influence of others. When I was a kid, a teacher impacted my life. I want to go become a teacher. Or my mother or father worked in the medical field. I want to become a doctor. Or somebody I knew that I cared about was an attorney, and I want to become an attorney. That influence of others is a powerful tool. Someone who has influenced your life in a positive way. You can see yourself participating in the same career path. Okay? Number three, frustration. Frustration is number three. Something you are frustrated with and would like to fix. All right? Some people are frustrated with, the drug problem that we see in our society. Some people are frustrated with some of the, great things that happen in certain communities. They want to do something about that. Or some people are frustrated with, the family things. They want to spend time trying to help people fix their family situation. Frustration. All right? And then number four is this. Vision and introspection. And this is one that people use quite often. This basically, how many ever heard someone make that statement, you missed your calling? Anybody ever seen that before? Anybody's ever said that to you personally? You missed your calling? A lot of times, if you hear people continually say you missed your calling, guess what? You missed your calling. There's something that people see in you that you may not necessarily see in yourself. Okay? So what I want to do is, and we have about 10, 15 more minutes left of my time, I want you at your table, I want you to talk around your table for like about a minute and a half. We don't have much time. This is a speech, not a seminar. And talk to the people around you about one of these categories. What's something you're infatuated with? Who may have influenced you in such a way you could possibly see yourself doing something similar? Go right ahead. I know this is a keynote speech, but I want us to do that for just a few moments. Somebody start it off. So talk about something you're infatuated with, something you just love doing, or somebody that has influenced you in such a way. So go ahead for a few seconds. Come on, for about a couple minutes. Go right ahead. At your tables, right now.
How are you? I'm Brenda.
Just various.
All right, say it like you mean it. I've seen this young man a long time. I think he's got no shit in his hand.
So helping people better understand just help I write their question.
Germany's different. I was actually out there yesterday because I came a day early for a part-time student who's working hours.
Oh, sure, yes.
I was halfway here before I checked out. You never see the actual date. So I was walking around just, and I saw his picture posters. And I said, "Did you hear the restaurant?" So I had to come back for that, and then I came back. far? Inner city, really wanting to mentor and train, not the ones that are, giving up on it. There's a whole set of
All right, let's take another 30 seconds and we unfortunately only have about 5 minutes left, so we gotta run out of time.
Not currently. I have.
Actually, according to my clock, I have 10 minutes. Let's get ready to wrap it up. I know it's not long, but that's why we need to think about the workshop. I'm still selling that workshop. I'm still selling that workshop. We're going to get in here sometime. All right, where's someone? Let's do this just real quick. 2 people tell me something that they said at their table. Well, just 2 people. I know it's not a workshop, but I'm interacting. I like to see what people are saying. What's up? See, somebody pointed at someone and said they said something really good.
Right here.
She did? All right. All right, what did you say? What did you say? Yes.
Just like developing countries and how people don't usually get paid
Yeah.
the wage that they should be getting paid.
Right.
So just working with fair trade and having.
Oh man, just give her a hand clap. That's beautiful. God bless her. I like that. You really captured when I'm in my frustration. That's very good. Someone point at somebody else. Yeah, they're right there. There you go. They all point at you. There you go.
Mine is also frustration.
Yes.
I really want to go into non-for-profit because
Yeah.
I don't like when people don't give back when they have a chance to, when they don't turn around and do the most they can.
Yeah.
They're in a position of privilege, so
Right.
I want to help with that.
You got some geniuses here. Point at somebody else. Somebody point at somebody. There you go. All right, they got you, man. Yeah, you. Come on. All right. You got to stand up and speak louder. We got to hear you over there. Stand up.
Okay. Hi, I'm Anthony.
All right.
That was pretty much frustration.
Yes.
I've always wanted to be an attorney.
Okay.
And something that's been driving me for about my entire life has been just helping other people with their rights,
Yeah.
and knowing what they are, and just coming up against injustice and things like that.
That's good stuff. Isn't it amazing? Give me a hand clap. John Now, prior to this, let me ask you a question. If you would have thought that something that you're frustrated with is something you can make a career. That's why I say this. That's what we call these compassion pathways. Because it's something that people say, I want to do something about this. It means so much to me. I want to do something about it. You see? And it's a powerful tool when you understand it. For times like I have to move on. But make sure you at least break these things down because you want to be able to revisit these and take a look at them in your passion pursuit. The second thing I want to talk about real quick was key number 1 was the passion pathways. Key number 2 is the theory of multiple intelligence. Again, I can't take credit for this. This was Dr. Howard Gardner out of Harvard University. Now look at somebody next to you at the table, give them a handshake and say, you look like a genius to me, baby. Come on, say that to them. Say that, you look like a genius. Now, this is my nice part of me that I do every now and then. Take a hand again and say, almost as smart as me. Come on, say that to them. Almost as smart as me. Almost as smart as me. You working on it. But see, Dr. Howard Gardner refuted the research of Dr. Albert Binet, who was a French researcher back in the 1800s who came up with a thing called the IQ test. He said this, that basically you have people with high IQs and you have people with low IQs. And a big part of Binet's research was centered around academic and school systems. So it was kids, some kids were going regular education, some kids in special education. 75, 80, 90, 100 years later, whatever it was, a guy named Dr. Howard Gardner said, I don't necessarily fully agree with that. He said, I think people are born with certain intelligences. And so he created this book. He wrote this book called Frames of Mind, The Theory of Multiple Intelligence. It's like 900 pages long and is deeply entrenched and rooted in. It's really a tough read. But if you like this kind of stuff, it's a jewel of a book. Okay? But he talks about these 8 intelligences that people are born with. The first one he said is linguistic intelligence or word smart. How many of you in here are like me? That's your intelligence. You can talk and you can go and, we got 2 people? Come on, I know more than you in here can talk. You got to be kidding. Yeah. See, this linguistic intelligence is an intelligence that people like Oprah Winfrey and all use in their careers, and they make careers out of it. People go into television. Some people go into, teaching because they have the linguistic intelligence. Some people have what's called logical mathematical intelligence. These are people that like to analyze. They're very analytical. Matter of fact, when you're talking to them, they're probably analyzing you when you're talking to them. Because that's just the way they roll. And they're analytical. Now you know some people. I know some of you have people that you don't like that. Some people are spatial. They're visionaries. What's beautiful about the visionary, they can see the big picture, but guess what? They need the analytical to get the job done. You get a bunch of spatial people in the room, they have great ideas, but they need somebody that's analytical to put the process together. That's called good leadership. You see? And then you have the bodily kinesthetic, the people that can move, the athletes, the entertainers, the dancers. I don't have that one too much. I don't move that way. At least I think I don't. But people they become choreographers, they become athletes, and this is what they use, and it's their intelligence. And some people say that's not intelligence. Some people make a good living using that intelligence. A very good living. Musical. How many of you ever seen people that can play a song without taking any lessons? Just naturally gifted that. That's called musical intelligence, and some people have that. So I'm not going to go into all of these, but as you can see, again, the beauty of Google is you can Google research this on your own and take a look at it, because these are the types of things we need to think about when we're talking about finding our passion and making a living at it. What intelligence do I possess? As you can see what mine is, and guess what? I travel all over the world doing this with the linguistic intelligence. I've now found a way to make that linguistic intelligence relevant to the world in which we live. All right? And the last thing I want to talk to you about is passion. Get this to flip over, is passion mapping. Passion mapping is a tool I developed to help you take your purpose and connect it to a career and academic success. It is also designed to help you identify the many career options that can come from one purpose. When I do these workshops, one thing I talk about is if you have a passion for something, and through this mapping process, you put that passion in the middle, it could be the passion for sports, let's say. But a lot of people think when you have a passion for sports, the only thing you can do is be an athlete. But that's not true. What else can you be? Help me out. You're smart students. What else can you do besides be an athlete? You can be a coach. What else? You can be sports marketing. Thank you, sir. What else? You can be a sports commentator. Very good. What else? You can the college majors that are connected to it. The role models that I need to research. I don't need to know them, but maybe I can research these people's lives and see how they accomplished the goal. And with that, you can take and make your career option out of it. Let me say this as I get ready to go. I don't just speak this message, I live it. In my home, I got my daughter here, Sophia Olivia, who's 10 years old. When she was 4 years old, we noticed that she had an affinity towards acting and entertainment. So we put her in these little classes and let her start taking classes as a little girl. And by now she's 10 years old and she's pretty much a paid actress. She took her affinity, her gifts and talents, and now she performs in front of 15,000 people a week in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, at a place called Second South Theater. It's amazing. And I thank her by the fact that she's walking up here. I'm running out of time. Yeah, we got just a few more points I want to make. So the thing about it is, with the passion mapping, I just want to share when we look at this is what we kind of go into. The components are affinity mapping, taking the map process and thinking about your gifts, talents, and abilities. What are the multiple pathways that you can go with this? Relevant academics, what are the academics I need in order to achieve my goals and dreams based upon my purpose? Who are some possible role models that I don't necessarily need to know? My son wants to be an animator and a filmmaker. He's studying the life of Walt Disney. He doesn't know Walt Disney, but he's studying his life. Walt Disney died years ago. He couldn't know personally. All right, research that needs to be done. Then a dream team. 5 or 6 people who believe in what you believe in, and you encourage each other along the process. Continuous learning, and then maybe job shadowing based upon something that you find within your own purpose. Couple key points. For those of you who are wondering, that's not Michael Jordan. That's Michael Jordan's body and my face. Now you know that Michael Jordan doesn't look that good. Come on, you know. All right. A couple of key points as I get ready to close up. Developing a strategy to identify your passion is critical to career and life satisfaction. Again, motivation without information is simply a good conversation. You gotta have a strategy, or else it'll just be a good conversation. Number 2, every day we admire people who are living their purposes. If they can do it, you can too. And lastly, develop a dream team. People who have interests like you have, where you can encourage each other, meet regularly, talk about game plans and strategies. It's absolutely amazing. There's a book called The Pact, where these 3 guys who lived in Newark, New Jersey, came together when they were 9 years old, said we're going to grow up and become doctors. No one thought these boys would ever do it. They all grew up and they became doctors because of the pact that they made with each other. It's good to have the right people around you encouraging you. Now I'm going to leave you with a quote by Henry Ford. He said this: if you think you can, or if you think you can't, you're right. Whichever one you choose. If you think you can, you're right, or if you think you can't, Right. All right. And so we want to think about living our purpose and our passion. We've got to think we can do this. It takes strategy, it takes commitment, but we can do this. So I'm going to leave you with a little bit of a charge as we get ready to go into the next segment of this time together. I'm going to give you some marching orders. All right, y'all ready for this? Y'all ready? I say yes, coach, when I say it. Y'all ready for this? Yes, coach. All right, because you got to call out and go. Y'all ready for this? Yes, coach. All right, here we go. We'll give you a quick story about a guy that was golfing. Matter of fact, he's a hacker. Anybody play golf? Anybody play golf? Anybody a hacker like me? Anybody ever trying to ball slice that way, ball go that way? That's the extent of my golf game. Well, this guy was a hacker, but the thing about hackers, they look good. All right? They can't play. They got nice bags of golf bag, but they can't play a lick, but they look good. So the hacker gets up, and he's on the first tee, and he's about to go off and do his thing on the first tee. But the problem was there was a big ant mound on the first tee. So the hacker gets up with his nice suit, his nice gloves, and his nice pink Cobra clubs, and he gets up and he steps up and he takes his club back and he swings his club. He missed the ball. He hits the ant mound and he kills a whole bunch of ants. Everybody say, oh. And he gets up one more time and he swings his club and he misses the ball again because he's a hacker. He hits the ant mound one more time and he kills some more ants. Everybody say, oh. Come on, give me better all on that. Oh. And he does it again, he kills some more ants. And listen to this, my friends. It boils down to the point where there's only 2 ants left. The hacker just killed all the other ants. So, the one ant looks at the other ant. There's only 2 left. And he says, hey, ant, he just wiped out the entire family. What do you think we should do? So, the one ant looks back at the other ant and he said this to him. He said, well, you know, it's quite obvious to me. If we're going to survive, we better get on the ball. Come on, you're smart student. Let's get it. Get on the ball. Get somebody a high five and say, get on the ball, baby. Come on, high five and say, get on the ball, baby. Get on the ball, baby. Those other students, thank you so much. I hope you find your passion in what you do. Make a living. Thank you so much for your time.